What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Movies That Make You podcast, where movies are more than just entertainment. They're a catalyst for meaningful conversation. I'm Jonathan Sprang, and I go by Sprang, and most weeks we dive into movies to watch in preparation for a new release hitting theaters. But we don't stop there. We talk about the morals, the values, and the life lessons these movies have to offer. This week, I've got my good friend David Patrick. He's going to be on the show. We're going to be talking the top 10 movies of 1995. I'm going to bring my list. We're going to see where it all ends up. Should be a good time. We hope you'll go check out our website. It's bio.site/movies that make you. There you'll find all of our links to all of our social media channels on YouTube, Instagram, and elsewhere. You can also find our podcast link to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can also check out our letterbox, which shows you all of our lists on the movies that make you laugh, the movies that make you cry, the movies that make you scream, and everything in between. Before we dive into this week's episode, though, let's take a look at the next 4 weeks on the Movies That Make You podcast. Next week, we've got Avatar 1 and 2. We'll be discussing those two films in preparation for Avatar Fire and Ash hitting theaters Friday. We hope you'll join us as we talk about the people that are blue. The week after that, we're going to be doing another episode on Christmas movies. Have our lists changed in the last 2 years? This is the third year we've done Christmas on the podcast. Do we have any new additions to our top 5? Let's find out. The week after that, we're going to be doing our best of 2025. The movies we saw this year, what made the top 5. Each of us are going to bring our own individual list, and we'll combine them at the end. Should be a good time. We hope you'll join us. The week after that, we've got our first episode of 2026, and this is the first episode of Movies That Make You podcast Season 2. We're welcoming Papa Goss to the show as the official co-host, and we are super excited about this year. We're going to kick this first episode off with our most anticipated films for 2026 with Papa Goss, Kristen, and myself. We are excited about this new year and this new season for the podcast. Hope those episodes excite you. So without further ado, let's get to the podcast. We are back with another episode of the Movies That Make You podcast. I'm Jonathan Sprang, and today is a very special episode. We are joined by my best friend in the world, David Patrick. How's it going, buddy?
Hey. Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you too, man. It's been a while since we've talked face-to-face, even if it is virtually. I think the last time we saw each other was Dave Matthews Band in Atlanta.
I know. That was awesome.
Can't be too bad, right?
We have a special history with Dave Matthews in Atlanta and rain. Every time we go, we get rained on, and this was no exception. So,
yeah. The first time we went, we got rained on, and we went out the opposite exit of the building of the facility.
I think the car is this way. It was not that way.
We had to walk all the way around the stadium.
It's awesome.
In the rain, getting soaked, and then finally made it back to the car. The car was there, and it was easy to spot because it was the only one left. So
yeah, that's true. Touche.
Yes. But you and I connected on Dave Matthews Band in college. And before we jump into the movies, like what is it about you that makes you love Dave Matthews Band music?
I mean, I love that it's always evolving and it's always different. I love that I think one of the biggest things I do love is you can tell they enjoy playing. Like they would basically do this if no one paid them and no one showed up. Like they are just so happy and so excited to play music. And the music, I mean, it's always getting better. It's always evolving but they can pull out a song from, 1995, like we're talking about now. And it's just as fresh as it was back then. So yeah, I love it. And the community, right? Dave says all the time, like they have 30,000 fans. They don't just come to every show. So,
right.
Which I feel like is sometimes true. Like everybody's so welcoming. So I love it.
Yeah. I think for me that it was my first show. Like I was like, oh, Dave is cool. Yeah. And I, watched the listener supported DVD because somebody in the college suite had it. And so I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And they're like, you want to go to a show? I'm like, sure, why not? And then I go and I'm just like, what was this? This is just insane. And my first show is when he had a guest, the Flecktones, like 3 out of the 4 members of the Flecktones were there and performed half the set with them. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, this is insane.
It's incredible.
So that got me hooked. And then of course, the rest is history. And we try to go see at least one show a year.
Yeah.
And that's always fun.
For sure.
But one of our other greatest pastimes is we watch movies. And we were actually, I know specifically there was one time that we met up and we were going to see a movie, and you told I think it was fiance at that point, that we were going to see a movie, and she said, "What?"
Yeah, she didn't understand that that is something we just enjoy doing together. She was like, you could do anything you want, and you're gonna go sit in a dark room. And it's like, yeah, that's what we want to do.
Yeah, that's what we
What was
want to
the
do.
one we saw? Oh, when we went to see Dave Matthews, right? We saw that. What was
Yeah,
it? The Seth Rogen with the food. What was it called?
yeah, yeah.
That was just kind of terrible.
Yeah, I forgot. I think I blocked it out of my memory,
Anyway,
but yeah,
yeah, we saw
yeah,
that one.
sausage
It was
party,
like, I
sausage
think we,
party. That's what it
yeah,
was.
yeah, and we just walked out of that and we're like, wait, what did we just watch? But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah. And I think we'll go see even bad movies. We'll go
yeah,
see fun movies. We'll go see. I think we went and saw the Hubble Space Station movie like in IMAX when the IMAX movie in Farewell just opened up, and it was just like, this is cool. We should go see this. It's just something we love to do. I remember even like Jay Blake talked to my parents a few weeks ago
yeah.
in Jacksonville, and was just like, I remember just going to your house and just loved going to your house and watching movies, and getting pizza and hanging out and stuff. So it's just something we did in high school, and I think it definitely influenced our kind of our pastime of
Should
watching
we
movies.
should we talk about Guad and how he got fired? Letting us sit there was this guy in our youth group, right, and he was new. He had just moved to town, and he was like, "Hey, my name's John, but everybody calls me Dog, like DAW." You got to remember this was the 90s, right? DAWG. And then went to this camp and everything was like backwards. So he was like, "Well, dog backwards is Guad." And so it just stuck. Well, fast forward, he gets a job at a movie theater and decides like, oh, it'll be fine. I'll just let you guys in the back door. And as soon as he opened the back door, like his manager walked around the corner and he got fired.
And he was like, wait, I can't do this.
Wait, he was like, what? What's wrong? Anyway,
Yeah, I felt bad for that. Felt bad for that. But
yeah,
we this teenager hijinks, right?
yeah.
Teenager
I think
hijinks.
he's doing okay. He made it.
Yeah. Yeah. So movies are a big part of our life, and are kind of like something that we connect with. It's like I tell the boys and I told Kristen, it's like I love sharing the things I love with the people I love. And I think especially it's a movie I like, oh, I want you to watch this movie. It's not just like I don't want to enjoy it just for me. I like enjoy it because you're enjoying it or you're getting to see it for the first time. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just something that we like to do. So today, as David mentioned just a moment ago, we are talking about the best movies of 1995. We are going to kind of split up the podcast. First, we're going to do the 10 through 6 of my top 10, and then we're going to break, and David's going to share how crappy my list is, and talk about all the movies that are not in my top 10 that should be in my top 10. And then we're going to do my top 5 to kind of close out the episode. But we're just going to have a lot of fun talking about these movies. It's crazy. I mean, there are so many good movies that came out in 1995. Last December, I did a podcast on 1999, which was fun because it had my favorite movie of all time, The Matrix. But there's so many good movies in 1995. It's like really, really hard to create that list and have it be somewhat objective because there's so many things there that you love. I mean, I even looked at my top 10 list and I said, how is this movie not in my top 10? But it just, for whatever reason, this was how the list landed. And so we're gonna deal with it. Before we do that, though, we do like to do a thing on the podcast called Mustards. We catch up on the week. So just kind of fill us in. How's your week been?
Oh, pretty good. Let's see, what do we got going? We got two small kids, so that basically fills up our life. Today is we're recording this on Veterans Day holiday, so no school today, so there's that. Um, but yeah, pretty good. I travel for work, so I was in San Diego till middle of last week, so that's good. San Diego is always beautiful. So doing good. We recently got a new dog, which is he's a puppy, but he's a big puppy. He's 45-pound puppy, so it's it's like, no, you can't do this, and he's like, well, I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm 45 pounds. So but yeah, no, things are good. We're having a good time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Our week's been good. We had a pretty good weekend. We had some friends over, did some board games and stuff, and made some street tacos for them on Saturday night. I'm leading music at a church on Sunday mornings, and then I'm working with a youth band on Sunday nights at another church. And so Sundays are kind of busy, but it's a lot of fun to kind of flex that muscle a little bit, kind of helping guide people towards, becoming better musicians and more than just playing chords on a page. Like, how do we make this music? So that's been a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for a few weeks now, and they had their first time playing in front of the youth group with after I started working with them, and everybody was super stoked and felt like everything was
Well,
like
that's great.
so great. So that was a lot of fun. Kids are doing well. Zeke just performed Wizard of Oz over the weekend,
Ooh,
Thursday night, Friday matinee for the third graders, Friday night for the families, and then Saturday matinee. So just a lot of like they
that's a
were
lot.
so tired after.
Yeah.
But yes, he said I don't know if he was just telling me because he wants to make me happy, but he did say today, he's like, I can't wait for the next one. So we'll see. We'll see. But it's a lot of work for the little guy, all this
uh,
performances and all that.
Sprang and I also have some theater history, but that's for a different podcast. So
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to pull up the next time we have a musical coming out, besides Wicked, because I don't have it booked yet. But maybe next year when there's a musical, we'll have you back on and talk about our music theater
yeah,
past.
yeah, there you go.
That'd be good. So one of the things I also like to do with guests is just kind of talk about where your love of movies came from, and if you have like one or two movies that have been very impactful to you. And so if you want to just kind of share a little bit about that, how did you fall in love with movies?
Yeah, I always think that I don't know. I think it started well. I feel like both of us sort of had a foundational. There was a guy also named Jonathan who came into our youth group at church when we were sort of in a foundational high school age and introduced us kind of to the world of video in general, like creating video, shooting video, as well as like film and sort of opened that more to like, oh, you're just sitting there watching as something goes by. It's more like the craft and so I think as I started to understand more about how movies are made, then that made me more interested in like appreciating them and watching them for more than just entertainment, right? So understanding a little bit more about how it comes together and all the behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. So um but yeah, I think that I would say the late 90s right in here is probably the most impactful for me. The Matrix obviously is up there. 1999, Fight Club,
Yeah.
movies like that. I remember we always said like, oh, you have to watch it twice. Like you can't just watch it once. You got to watch it once and then watch it twice. Uh, but yeah, there's just were so many great films that came out in the late 90s that and that like high school going into college was so foundational. So I think that's really where it let where it stems from.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we probably saw a lot of those movies for the first time together. I think I remember us seeing Fight Club in the theater when we were in college. So yeah, crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Well, let's get
Oh,
into it. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
well, so I was gonna say one the other that popped in my mind is Back to the Future. I remember that being kind of foundational. Like it came out in the 85, the original, but obviously they had the sequels. And I remember watching part two in the theaters when
Hmm.
I was in high school age. I'm not sure when that came out. And then being so like excited slash disappointed that there was a part three that they like didn't finish it or whatever. But and they just hit the what was it, the 40th
40th.
anniversary. I was traveling and with time I didn't get to, but I really wanted to see it in IMAX, so the limited release, but I didn't get a chance. So anyway.
We went this last weekend. We went with the boys, took them to
Yeah.
see it in Dolby. They only had the IMAX on the Friday night, and so we couldn't go Friday night because it's
Yeah,
Halloween. It's
it's
like
Halloween, sure. Yeah.
so we ended up going in the Dolby theater, which is a really good experience too. That got the really clear screen. It's not as like big or tall, I guess height wise as an IMAX, but it had the high quality sound and the
Yeah.
leather seats and all that stuff. So yeah, it was fun to see it in the theater. My parents were in town, so they actually like
Nice.
my dad and mom were both like, I don't think I've seen this since like 85, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
And it's
crazy.
just a brilliant film, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
for
I
sure.
hear they still teach the script is like the perfect script or whatever. So
And it was like watching it again in the theater, like walking out of the theater, I was like, oh my goodness, like they tie everything that happens in the beginning of the movie is all setting you up so that you understand something downstream. It's like even like the clocks that are on the wall and the camera's panning over, you think this means nothing. It's like, no, that picture, those three pictures are in Doc's house in the 1955, and that clock, he's as a person hanging from a clock, that's from like all this stuff is just connecting the dots to, throughout the whole thing. So you're guided as a viewer without them like coming right out and just telling you with a bunch of prose or a bunch of exposition. It's like it's showing you, and it's just like just so brilliant, so brilliant.
Did you know originally the time machine was going to be a refrigerator instead
I
of a
did,
DeLorean?
no.
And they changed it because they were nervous kids would hide in refrigerators trying
Oh
to like
wow.
whatever. So they changed it to which, was the right decision looking back. But
Definitely. I mean, you can't. How do you get a refrigerator up to 88 miles per hour?
no, I mean you can, but I think we did that with a couch one time, maybe. I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Another time, another conversation for another time. But very nice. No, that's great. That's a great film, great movie. So let's just jump into it. We got a lot of movies. We're just gonna
Yeah.
touch on these first few. So my number 10 from 1995 is GoldenEye, which was the first Bond film with Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. And I think one of the reasons why this hits my top 10 is one, I just love the whole, even growing up before I saw GoldenEye, I remember seeing like all of the Bond films like on TNT at Thanksgiving. They'd show all day just James Bond films, Roger Moore stuff, and it was just, I just love the technology, like the gadgetry. I love the cars. I love the spy aspect. There was just all this cool suaveness that he had, and it was just like impactful to me. And I remember when I mean, it was 1995. I remember when they cast Pierce Brosnan, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect," because I remember him on a TV show called Remington Steele that I watched as a kid, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's going to be great. He's going to be a great Bond." And that movie was just insane. Not to mention the fact that they came out with the N64 video game following that movie that just blew off all the hinges of all the doors, when it comes to multiplayer and like first person shooters. Like we wouldn't have Halo without GoldenEye. So it's at my number 10 because it's a fun ride, it's a fun experience, and because I think James Bond, it kind of took my like of James Bond and amped it up to being a love of James Bond, and wanting to see more and more of that character on film. So
Yeah.
what's your
Yeah.
experience with GoldenEye?
Also remember when they cast Pierce Brosnan that it was I don't remember having the same like feelings or recollections, but I do remember there was a lot. Seems like James Bond that, what 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was, 30 years ago, was more in the public eye than it is now. Like it was that franchise was more of a big deal. And so I remember a lot of people like having, pros and cons, like, hey, Pierce Brosnan's gonna be great, or no, he's a terrible choice, or whatever. So I feel like there was a lot of pressure on that movie for kind of him to perform and see like, hey, are you going to step into this role? Is it going to work? But yeah, obviously it did, and he had a great run. So yeah,
Yeah, 4 or 5 movies as Bond, and I think one of the things that ends up coming back when you look at, like, Daniel Craig as Bond, is they really tried to go back to the books with the Daniel Craig Bond. They saw kind of the effects of, like, the Roger Moore Bond, which is super, chauvinistic and very sexual and very that. I think Pierce Brosnan did a great Roger Moore Bond in a more modern context, 1995 being that modern. It was like, this feels right. It feels like the Bond that we're familiar with because but then when you get into like, I think Mission Impossible, you got Jason Bourne had come out, and this was taking spy stuff a little bit more seriously, a little bit more rugged. And so they kind of went back to the roots of kind of the book, with Casino Royale being James Bond's initial book that was written by Ian Fleming, kind of coming back and saying, "Hey, let's take another kind of a different take on the Bond character. Let's kind of take it back to the roots, get away from the Roger Moore stuff, and get more into like the ruggedness of James Bond." So
sure,
I thought
yeah,
it's a kind of a cool different juxtaposition there.
yeah, for sure.
My number 9 is a movie that really has a bigger impact in 2025 than it did in 1995, and that is Outbreak. Dustin
Yes,
Hoffman uh, basically is trying to research this outbreak of a flu-like event from a monkey. scratches a person, that person gets sick, that person travels on a plane, goes into movie theaters, coughing, all this stuff, and everybody just outbreak, just crazy, and they're having to figure out trying to find the monkey that was the origin so they can find the way to kind of stop this outbreak and create a vaccine to kind of save the world, basically.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw it the first time, I think we may have watched it in college, and kind of got it on DVD or something. I was like, this is a really great movie. And then a couple years ago, in COVID, it was like, hey, we need to rewatch this movie. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's an end to this. I promise, this can give us some hope that we can find it. But I just love the performances. Even watching it this time, I just thought the performances were so great. And Dustin Hoffman, obviously a great actor, but yeah, fun story too, like redemption. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it not too long ago. Again, yeah, it's funny how like it hits home. Like even like not to digress, but like the Matrix means more now. I think with the advent of
Mm,
AI than it did even in '99. Great film then, but now it's like it's transformed, means something. I think the same thing, right? Now that we've all lived through a pandemic of this scale, obviously we've had more in the past, but a modern pandemic, like obviously this means a lot more in that. And also think about, I always enjoy movies that I don't know why, but I kind of enjoy movies like that have this like natural like disaster. Like you think about now I'm blanking on it, but the one with Will Smith where he's the last guy, the
oh yeah.
zombies. Uh yeah, now you're
I am
blanking too.
Legend. I am
I Am
Legend.
Legend. Like that
Yeah.
was almost the same kind of thing. Like there was an outbreak and like it kind of like whatever it spread, or World War Z, right? There was kind of like this outbreak and it spread. So yeah, I I always enjoy that kind of thing. But yeah, the acting is great and I love the how the not love, but it also was an interesting like plot point where she could track, like she is working to track down the virus and she contracts the virus as part of her like
Right.
path or whatever. So anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. Really good. Rene Rousseau, right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's good. It's good stuff. Kind of moving right along. My number 8 is a movie called Kids. Now, this one I remember I didn't see it when it came out because it was rated R. And I remember feeling like, but I remember hearing about it. I remember like hearing things like, if you have kids, you need to watch this so you kind of know what they're facing in the world at the time. And I think that really impacted me when I did go back and watch it. I was somewhat thankful that that's not the environment that I was a part of in high school, because it was such a tough environment. But I think this movie definitely gave me insight into and it's something that I like to talk about with the kids and on the podcast is like sometimes movies are snapshots of a reality that you don't recognize, but that someone else does. And it's like it can help you to empathize with those things. And so that was this for me. Like it was skater kids that were always into trouble. And then kind of I don't want to spoil it, but there's some stuff that happens early in the film. And then the very last scene of the film is something super, super in fact impactful for the characters, and yet nobody knows how impactful it is, and you as the audience are just taking it in, and it's just wild.
Sure.
But a
Yeah.
couple of folks that I've seen elsewhere, Rosario Dawson and Chloe Sevigny, I've been in tons of movies since, but this was like their first film, and it was shot like it was very raw, like it looked like it was just a camcorder on the street kind of vibe, and super super gut wrenching. So
Yeah. I'm not sure I ever saw this one. I'm not sure that I can comment on it because I don't know that I think it may have been one of those in '95 I was probably not old enough to watch this, right? So I'm not sure it ever made the list to circle back to it,
sure.
but yeah, for sure.
It's definitely worth a watch for those of you out there that haven't seen it. I think it's good. There's a couple others that remind me of it. Like I think there's a movie called 13 that came out. And then there's another one called Eighth Grade. These are also other movies where it's like trying to really get into the head of a teenager and try and help parents and others, teachers, anybody that deals with kids kind of understand the stresses and the difficulties that kids today face. So there's a couple of other good movies there. All right, so getting away from the seriousness of a movie like Kids, getting into something more fun and exciting and just like cheering. cheering from your seat. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Right? You mentioned Will Smith earlier. We got Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Tia Leone. This one was came on the scene and just like everybody was just going crazy for it. Michael Bay at his best. That incredible, like the incredible camera moves that you begin, like I'm sure he did them before this, but I remember specifically the moves of them standing up in the middle of the street and the camera going around them. It's like, yeah, you see that same shot in things like Avengers and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. And you see Michael Bay do it here. And Michael Bay, this is like in his heyday too. Like just the action, the 90s action is just on point. You also get Cypher from the Matrix, and here is their police captain. So that's fun too. And then did the second one, and then it was a long time. And then just a few years ago, they did the third one and the fourth one. I think last year. I haven't seen the fourth one yet, but this one was, we rewatched it when the third one was coming out. We watched the first two, and I was just like, this is a perfect 90s action film. So it's 5 stars on my list, and that's why it's up there at number 7.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I love Will Smith. Like I've always enjoyed everything he's in, and that combination of him and the what's his name? I'm
Martin
blanking on it.
Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence, thank you.
Yeah.
Like that combination of them like playing back and forth on each other. And I like things that have like I really like when there's humor. Like I love a comedy, but also like an action movie that's mostly action, but throws a lot of humor in it. And I think that gives it that like little extra push to make it like more classic to exist, like live on longer than just a straight action film. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Totally.
for sure.
And I think in this first one specifically, there's this funny play on the fact that not only is it, Martin Lawrence, the comedic guy, Will Smith, the attractive action guy, but then in the movie they actually have to swap places, and Martin has to pretend that he's Mike Lowry, and he has to pretend that because that's who Tia Leone's character is like trying to connect with. But yeah, I just like that kind of reverse of roles that just added another layer of humor to it that was just so fun.
Yeah.
I kind of bringing it down again. We kind of down with kids, up with bad boys, and now we're down again. This is a movie, Nicolas Cage, Elizabeth Shue, Leaving Las Vegas, 5 stars on my rating. And this is one of those films. I think Nicolas Cage won an Oscar for this. It is just a heart-wrenching story. A man basically is going to Vegas to drink his way to death, connects with a prostitute there, Elizabeth Shue. They develop a relationship, and she's going to be there with him, and he wants to pay her to be there with him while he dies. And it's just like just a complete like snapshot of where how bad life can get with certain things happen, and how depression can affect you, and all that stuff. So just a really, really good story in the sense that it's well done, well said, well acted. But it's also like so gut wrenching.
Yeah, it's been a very long time since I've seen this. So I don't remember a lot of the details, but I mean Nick Cage is great. And Elizabeth Shue, whatever happened to her? Like I feel like she was in a bunch of stuff and then she sort of like fell off. But I always enjoyed her as well. I love Las Vegas as like a backdrop. I travel there for work a fair amount, and it's a very interesting city. I've been there enough times that the strip experience that you get and you see on postcards and movies and a lot of movies and things like that are is one thing, but when you get off the strip, it's like this sleepy desert town that has like a lot of real stories and real people and like those kind of like people, that classic like people who work in the casino but like can barely pay their rent or whatever it is. And so I just think that that's a really great, it's probably a really great backdrop for that story, right? Like you would think
Mm-hmm.
of Vegas, but it's connecting, for that painful experience. It's probably like really like a fall from grace kind of thing. So
Yeah, absolutely. So that was my bottom 5 for my top 10. So what do you think so far?
Yeah, I think that you have your opinions and I have mine. No, no. No, that's that's one of the great things about movies is that they're subjective and like everybody, they appeal to different people on different levels for different reasons, and that's great. So but yeah, looking at this a list of kind of everything that came out, I feel like there's a number of movies that I probably would have ranked higher probably in my top 10 for various reasons. So
All right, let's hear them. Let's hear them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you have Tommy Boy. Obviously, that's a classic comedy, and not gonna win any Oscars, whatever. But like that is Chris Farley at his best, probably. Very quotable. Still quote it today. It's awesome. Apollo 13, brilliant movie, brilliant act. Ron Howard, Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, like some really great performances in that one. And I love the it almost had that like it was very practical, right? There's not a lot of CG or maybe not any CG in it, right? And so it's a very practically shot movie, which I always appreciated. Like gives you a much more realistic feel. So thought that was awesome. Toy Story, a Pixar classic,
Mm-hmm.
one of their early ones that was just done so well that they've built on. Crimson Tide is an incredible film that I've enjoyed military movies to a degree, and the acting in that is incredible. The tension that it builds, and that sort of Cold War kind of backdrop. Um, Clueless is a staple in I think culture. American President I've always enjoyed. Casino, which I talked about. I'm kind of a sucker for Las Vegas. I actually watched Casino on a plane not too long ago, and it was still great. It was still Robert De Niro, and the
Yeah.
performance was just like this is as good as it ever was or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I could go on, but like I think one I do want to call out that was kind of like has a special place in my life is Hackers with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
I've always been a big computer nerd, and so that one appealed to me. But I don't remember exactly whether that was a PG-13 or I think it was a PG-13. There's some
Mm-hmm.
stuff in it, but I remember my aunt took me to see that, and I don't think she had any idea what it was. And I think I was excited to see it. And I think we both were kind of like, probably shouldn't be here, but here we are. But yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that I enjoyed the kids in high school fighting the system kind of thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always a classic. But so that'd probably be up there. But anyway, yeah, lots of it's I think like we've already said that mid to late 90s was kind of in a way golden age of movies, right? And so it's really hard to make a top 10 list because there's just so much
Mm-hmm.
good stuff to choose from.
Yeah. One I do want to bring up too, it's at the bottom of the list, but I actually watched it last October. So those are the podcasts know. I think you know too, but I watch a scary movie, at least a scary movie one a day for the whole month of October. Try to do that. Last year I decided to step it up and do more than one a day, and I got to 57 movies in the month of October. This year I tied that with 57 movies in the month of October. But last year I watched Ice Cream Man, and this is a horror movie with Clint Howard. You mentioned Ron Howard. This is
Bro,
Clint Howard is the Ice Cream Man.
related or no relation?
Yeah, brothers. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. No, I didn't know that. That's great.
And so he plays an ice cream man that is now putting children's body parts and stuff in his ice cream as filler and selling it to other kids.
Okay.
So think dentist. Remember the dentist from,
I
from
do.
our
I
college?
do remember the dentist. Ugh.
Think that, but like as an ice cream man instead of a dentist. It's that kind of like very B movie, not meant to be taken seriously. But yeah. A couple other ones that did jump out at me when I was just kind of scrolling again, like, I mean, Die Hard with a Vengeance is one of the best Die Hard films. One of the ones that's kind of not well known is Murder in the First, and this is about a kid. Kevin Bacon plays a kid that was basically put in Alcatraz for like stealing a microwave or something, or stealing something very small, and he's like stuck in a prison, and he gets put in isolation, and it's just like, why is this, basically just the punishment didn't fit the crime. And Christian Bale is Christian Slater is playing a lawyer that's trying to figure out how do we get him out. But yeah, it's really, really crazy story. I know it's murder in the first, so he probably killed somebody in his thing, but it was like an accident kind of thing. So it didn't fit the crime. But yeah, and then Batman Forever, a lot of people badmouth that one. I actually liked that one. I thought Jim Carrey was fun as the Riddler, even though it was cartoonish. It was like still grounded to a certain extent to where it felt raw and real. I felt like it matched Michael Keaton better, and then I think it went off the rails with Batman and Robin. But yeah, then Val Kilmer as Batman, Bruce Wayne. I mean, that's a good casting, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So yeah,
And then I mean, Friday was kind of a, if you're into that kind
yep,
of humor or whatever, but that was like a classic. In some
yep,
ways, probably a lot like Kids, but like totally different like material, but like sort of just that one day kind of like everything
mm-hmm,
that's going on, even though it's not raw shot or whatever. And then I don't think I saw Basketball Diaries, but that's got to be Leo DiCaprio, like
yeah. It's
one of
one of
his
his early ones.
early, like he's pretty young in that, and he's brilliant. So 12
Well,
Monkeys,
yeah, 12
12 or
Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. That's time travel with Bruce Willis or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Yeah. I mean, when you think of, and then the last one I think I'll mention is, well, two I'll mention because they're good. It's 95, man.
yeah, yeah.
Rumble in the Bronx was Jackie Chan's first American film. Like it was filmed in Japan, but I'm sorry. Yeah. China. Ah, man, I can't, I don't know.
Asia, just say Asia.
Yeah. It was Jackie Chan's breakout in America. Like that was his
Okay.
first feature film that they released and made a name for himself worldwide now, in an American market. And then the last one I will say is Before Sunrise. And the reason I mention that one is because this is the top rated trilogy of all time that very few people have ever seen. But it's Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy, and they play a couple that meet randomly in this movie Before Sunrise. Richard Linklater is the director, and he likes to do things in like unique things with film. So to give you a snapshot, he did one movie called Boy, also had Ethan Hawke in it, and he filmed it over the course of 15 years. And the actual kid actor, parents, actors, they filmed as the kid was growing up. They filmed this movie, the story of them
Interesting.
growing old together instead of
Yeah,
recasting, instead of
yeah.
makeup. It was like, no, he shot it in real time. So this one, 1995, is Before Sunrise. And then the second one is Before Sunset. And then the third one is Before Midnight. But it's the same kind of thing. They meet randomly this first one, and then they end up connecting again years later, and it's the same amount of years as they are actors old. And so it's this cool like snapshot into these two characters' lives in real time as they are kind of talking about life and where they've been since they met last and stuff like that. So, but it's like, I
Interesting.
think it's like 99 or 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, like every single one of them. And so it's just like, there's not another trilogy out there that really hits those types of Rotten Tomatoes numbers. But it's not everybody's cup of tea, right? It's two
Sure.
people
Yeah.
basically talking the whole movie. So it's not going to make the top 10 for the broskies. But when you look at trilogies and you look at acting and storytelling, it's really solid. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I just so many good things on the list.
yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get to my top 5. Number 5,
Number
Mr.
5.
Holland's Opus. This is a quintessential film for me, just embedded in my brain. The beauty of a music teacher, a guy that's a former composer, and he's slumming it by becoming a teacher because he can't make it as a composer. And then it follows his life from his first day of teaching till he retires, and the impact of all of these students that he has on their lives, and gives them hope, gives them joy, gives them all of this love, and something that they can go back to. And then when he retires, just they celebrate him like nobody's business. He also has a son who is deaf, and there's a really beautiful moment where he puts a light show together that is synced with the performance of the songs, so the son can
Yeah, I
experience it.
understand it. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like I was just like, what in the world is this movie? Like we watched it just a few months ago, and it was just like just tearing up, watching it.
Yeah.
I'm tearing up now just thinking about it. But yeah, great film, Richard Dreyfuss.
No, super, yeah, super powerful, great acting. I love the music in it is great, obviously. But I do love that sort of full circle he spends feels like he spends most of his life like obviously investing and like working hard, but like constantly being like I missed out, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, like all that kind of stuff. And then ultimately I feel like at the end, it's sort of this redemption of like, oh, like I was doing what I was supposed to do the whole time. Like I have like
Hmm.
made the impact I wanted to make. It just wasn't the way I thought it was going to happen. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's really
absolutely.
incredible.
Number four, Heat, 1995. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino. This is their first movie where they actually had scenes together. They
Mm,
were in Godfather 2, but they didn't have any scenes together because Robert De Niro played his father as a younger man, as it both showed their rise to power as they were younger, so they didn't have scenes together. So Heat, we see them. Al Pacino plays basically a major crimes uh, boss, major crimes unit head, commander, lieutenant, whatever, who is tasked with trying to figure out who's robbing these banks, who's robbing these vehicle, the armored car to start it. But then, like, come to find out they're a professional group, and he's like, these aren't just your casual five and dime robbers, or this is something that was a big deal. Val Kilmer plays another part of the crew, Robert De Niro's crew, and there's a huge pivotal scene where they end up like sitting down at a diner, and they're talking about. And it's just one of the most epic like dialogue pieces ever, between like a cop and a bad guy. Just so great, so great. All the twists and turns. It's a 2 hours and 50-minute movie. Um, it is, and it's so deep, relationally. Really develops those characters and all of their ins and outs, all their ups and downs, all their goods and their bad. It doesn't sugarcoat it. It's just really, really good. Michael Mann directed. They actually have Heat 2 is in some piece of production right now. I don't know if it's pre-production or if they're shooting yet, but it's definitely in development. But yeah, one of those movies, those crime movies, that it became the quintessential, like, this is what you want your crime movie to look like. And I saw so much of The Dark Knight, like,
mm.
influenced by this movie. Like, in just the opening scene alone, it felt very much like Nolan was doing his Heat, with that opening bank heist in The Dark Knights. What are your thoughts?
I always what sticks out to me is that street gun battle they have, which I think
Yeah.
at the time I feel I don't know, this is one of those facts that sticks on my head, may or may not be true, but at the time I think people were saying it was the longest, like one of the longest action sequences like that had ever been shot. Um
Mm-hmm.
and from like, and I don't know if that's like all whatever, all movies or just gun battles or whatever, but yeah, it's pretty epic when they're out there like fighting each other just in the streets and guns and on the other cars or whatever. That always sticks out in my mind. But yeah, great movie.
Yeah, the tension in that scene, like they almost make it out. Like they have all the money. They made it out of the bank. They're on their way to the car. Val Kilmer is about to open the car door. A bus drives by. He looks up and sees the cops, and it's like, and then from that point, it's just like everything goes to crap, and they're just, yeah, like you said, fighting for minutes on minutes, to try and get away. Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah.
And it ends with a great, one-on-one kind of like cat and mouse type thing. So good, so good. But yeah, so for those of you that are big fans of pop culture, Tom Hiddleston was on the Graham Norton show a few years ago with Robert De Niro, and he does a Robert De Niro impression. And in that show, Graham Norton asks him to perform this impression, and he does the scene from Heat, and he does Al
Mm,
Pacino, and he does Robert De Niro, and he doesn't do the whole script, but he does enough of the script to where you're just like, that was so good. And then to see
It's
Robert De
awesome.
Niro kind of like reacting to it with a
Yeah,
smile was
yeah,
really
yeah.
fun. I'll try
That's
to
awesome.
find it and maybe post it on our Instagram this week. So be
Sure.
on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
All right. The next one, another crime movie that is just like goes down in history as one of those films that just blew everybody's minds. Usual Suspects, directed by Bryan Singer, starring Kevin Spacey, Gabriel Byrne, Benicio del Toro, Emilio Estevez, and Kevin Pollak. They are the usual suspects. They are the guys that everybody knows is bad, but they can never catch them for anything. And they get brought in on this job, and there's somebody named Kaiser Soze that's the guy behind the scenes that's having them do all these jobs, and there's twists and turns, and the whole thing is like an interview with Kevin Spacey's character, and the whole movie is a flashing back to all the scenes, and at the end of the movie you're just like
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Incredible. Yeah. I mean, it's a A plus lineup of actors, and it's got like a lot of twists, and I like the flashback setup, and so like you're constantly like going back and forth there. I think the twist, not to give it away, like, but that kind of twist at the end or whatever, that's been sort of parodied a lot in a lot
yep,
of comedy and a lot of stuff. I think maybe like Key and Peele does a sketch or whatever about it and stuff. So yeah,
Scary
it's really
Movie.
good.
We just
Yeah.
watched Scary Movie, and at the end of Scary Movie, the doofy character like is not doofy, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's great.
yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it's really great. I did see I saw something like a behind the scenes thing, and I think when they first, like when they're in the lineup, like the picture I see here where they're like passing the thing, I think that was unscripted. Like basically not unscripted, but they weren't like, they were naturally like playing off each other. And I think it was supposed to be a serious moment, but they all were like having fun and laughing, and it just made
Yeah.
it really genuine or whatever. But
And I think Benicio del Toro farted too in that.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
you
that
may
was
have.
another
You
like
may
it was
have.
just like it wasn't working, and then they just got so frustrated they just kind of went
Yeah.
off script and went off kilter and just kind of, but it made the scene like, because it showed you how much they don't care about the cops, what the cops like, they're not scared of the
Right.
cops at all.
Right.
It was just, yeah, it was great. And
Yeah.
I think one of Kevin Spacey's first roles too. And wherever you could say about him now, at that point, like it was really, really solid performance from the guy.
Yeah.
Um,
No, he's had some great stuff. It's always an interesting conversation, is like, can you separate the personal person from their like art, from their craft, right? So like, and I always feel like, yeah, there's a sense where you don't, like, in some ways you don't want to support them, but in some ways it's also like, he already made the movie, already got paid for
yeah,
it, so let's enjoy it, right?
yeah, yep. Number two, Braveheart, Mel Gibson's. I don't know. I mean, I'm remembering this as being his first directorial debut, and he played the Scottish warrior William Wallace, and this movie uh, just blew everybody's minds. Just became just an epic story. Another one that's super long, but it's so good. Um, I want you to do it, and I want you to show that. I want the English to see you do it. So many great moments. Yeah, Ireland, it's my island.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that stuff. Like, they'll never take our freedom. Like these are just epic stories, epic lines. Yeah, and based off a true story, sort of, right? Like it,
Yeah.
yeah. My sister-in-law Becky is like, she just is a big history buff. But she hates the show The Tudors because of its it's nowhere near the history.
Mm,
I wonder what she'd think about Braveheart. I don't know.
yeah. Well, it's almost like the Bible, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not a history book. So don't treat it like a history book, right? No, I mean, Braveheart, I feel like, is one of those movies. It always filters into like the top 10 or 25 or 50 of like an all-time best list. Because it's epic, it's a great story, it's well done, it's great acting, it's got love, it's got action and fighting, like you rooting for the underdog.
Hmm.
It's got a good, a good ending. So it is a bit long, but I think like anything, you could say that about, Lord of the Rings or some of the other like epically long movies, but it doesn't, once you're into it, it doesn't feel, it's not like it drags. It's not like you come
Right.
away from it being like, ah, that could have been half an hour shorter, right?
Right.
It's how long they needed to tell the story. So, and
Absolutely.
Mel Gibson, I've always enjoyed Mel Gibson. I think he did a great job. So.
Yeah. So crazy. Such a great epic scenes, epic lines. I remember watching that in high school in TV production class one time. Miss Lewis, our good friend Miss
Mary
Lewis,
Lewis.
put it
Mary
on.
Lewis, if you're watching, say hello.
Yes, we love you. Nothing but love for
Nothing but love.
Stanton TV production class. Come on. Like, we learned so much in that class. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
we're
for
doing
sure.
this today because of Mary Lewis. Like,
What she let us borrow like the key piece of production equipment like for the summer. Like just take
yeah,
it home.
yeah,
And
just take it home.
who would do that now?
Right.
She really looking back is one of those like almost like Mr. Holland's Opus, right? Like at the time we were like, ah, oh, whatever. She's just another teacher. But I think looking back, like her investment in us, like meant,
100%.
meant something, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think I actually used for our senior video, I used the Braveheart soundtrack for uh, a piece of
Oh
it.
yeah.
Right.
We
You
did
know,
a
like,
lot. We did maybe another podcast the other day, but we did some down and dirty video production, and there was definitely some Braveheart clips
yeah,
stolen and put in
yeah,
there. So
yeah. And one of my other favorites was when we used commando clips, Arnold Schwarzenegger clips killing people as a part of our camp rules. Like, don't
oh
destroy other people's property or Arnie will get you.
that's I'll have to dig that one out.
Yeah,
That's approaching a 30-year revisit.
I
So
know.
to
I know.
dig that.
We'll have to do some sort of like special YouTube channel and like have it be like the old UB videos,
Yeah.
man. It'd be
Invite
awesome.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, do a podcast, do a live stream and invite everybody to come be a
I
part of
know, right?
it. That'd be fun. All right, here we go. My number one movie from 1995. I saw it earlier this year in a re-release in IMAX, and it holds up so well. And that is David Fincher's Seven, with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. The story of a cop a detective on the verge of retirement, taking on a young detective who just moved to town because he wants to make a name for himself, and they both are just at odds with each other because of the naivete in Brad Pitt's character and the kind of the old crotchetiness of the Morgan Freeman character. But he's trying to teach him about life, not just teach him about copying and detective work. And just the twists and turns that this movie made. There's a serial killer. His first day on the job, working with Morgan Freeman. There's a serial killer starting to kill using the seven deadly sins. That's where the name Seven comes from. Each of them getting more grotesque and worse as you go along, till the very end when the killer confesses that envy is his sin, and he needs Brad Pitt to use wrath, and then that will finish out his poetic story. So just incredible visually, beautifully shot. David Fincher at his best. Like, I mean, he's always great. And this is just one of those things. This was his first one after Alien 3. So Alien 3 came out, and he was not like proud of it. He still to this day will not do anything. He won't do anything with Alien 3 because the studio just ran him over so much. And so, but but after that, he gets the chance to do Seven, and it is just a tour de force. I mean, I don't know how to say it. It's just so good. It's a, the copness, the story, the twists, the turns, the the way that it's shot, everything from start to finish is just incredible. And I think I saw it the first time. We may have watched it together the first time. I can't remember if that was the case or not. But and it was in college because I was too young to see it. But I remember hearing like, you got to watch this movie, and man, yeah, so good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, David Fincher is incredible. Obviously, Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt are are great. Both in this film and like trajectory, like pretty much
Mm-hmm.
everything they're in is quality. So but I really like I like the yeah, it's just a nice story. It's a good story of intrigue. It's also got a little bit you like horror. I'm not as big of a horror person, but I do like these kind of more like thriller, right? Is what I guess you would call this,
Mm-hmm.
where it's not like yeah, it's got dark tones and like there's some dark things in it, but it's not your like horror or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. But yeah, it's a great film all the way around.
Yeah. And it's my number one, I think, in part because it's just so, it just sticks with you. You know, I remember some of those scenes from the first time seeing it. It's just all of those murder scenes are just so impactful, and it's like so many things have come after this that have like borrowed from it as far as storytelling wise, from like the cop shows or cop video games, or it's just like, you know, the serial killer aspect of all of that. And yeah.
Yeah, I still remember the like even just now talking, I still remember like the gluttony, like
Yeah.
some of the gluttony scenes or whatever. Was that the first sin? So
Yeah.
that and yeah, I think I remember them talking about like that was one of those early interactions where like he's like, oh, like he's a fat guy and he like ate himself to death or whatever. No, I think there's more to this than,
Yeah.
just whatever. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Kevin Spacey was in it too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
speaking of that.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. Gwyneth Paltrow plays Brad Pitt's wife in it. She doesn't feel comfortable with being in the city or raising kids in the city. But she's
Yeah.
there. She's there for him, you know. And then things happen. Things happen. What's in the box? What's in the box? Speaking of parodies, I did a parody of that for the youth group. I don't know if I ever showed you that. I hope I did. Maybe I didn't. I'll have to try and see if I can find it. But we did an opening for our talent show, I think back in like 2014 or 15. And the opening was, there's a box in a field and a guy was going to try and find it. Hey, go find that. You know, one kid goes to find it, and then there's another kid far away saying, what's in the box? And I did shot for shot remake of that scene between the two kids and the box. And then what was in the box was a Pharrell hat. So remember the hat he wore at the Grammys or whatever, and it was like this huge like cone brown hat. So we got one, and that was what was in the box.
That's
And then
funny.
we did Happy as the opening number. So the video kind of did like a music video with all of the teens, and then all the teens came into the space and did the final dance together, and then the show ended, like the song ended, and that was like the cold open to our talent show. So
Yeah.
proud of that one, man. Proud of
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. No, that's great.
Again, a shout out to Mary Lewis for
Yeah.
for letting us do music videos in high school. It's crazy.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, man. Well,
Well,
cool. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the
Yeah.
podcast, man.
Oh, it's
It
great.
took
It's
a
a lot of
long
fun.
time to get you on here. I should have had you on sooner, you know, just
Oh,
as
okay.
much as movies are that mean to us, you know, it was like, this just fits perfectly. I think this, like you said, late 90s is so formative to us. I think this is a
Yeah.
great episode to kick it off. Hope to have you on again sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd
Fun.
love to. Good to see you,
Awesome,
man.
man. You too. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Again, you can check out all of our links at bio.site/movies that make you. Feel free to drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. So until next time, keep watching movies.